All right, we're live. Yes.
All
Awesome. We're
right.
2 minutes early, 3 minutes early. And I'm still sitting in an office without furniture.
I thought that
You
was
do
supposed to be fixed by now.
you do have a light in the background with the lampshade rakishly askew. So
Yes.
I try to keep all my things rakish. Uh, I ordered a desk, and that's supposed to be here soon.
Oh,
I
that's the standing desk, right?
yeah. But the rest of the furniture for the house is not going to be here until we're back from China. And then they're going to install it while we're in China, and then we're going to magically come back and it's going to be like, hey, look at your new house with furniture in it.
I had no idea
Nice.
you were going to China.
Oh, I didn't mention that? Yeah, I'm doing, they're translating my book into Chinese,
Oh, nice.
and there's a conference there where the translator is like one of the organizers, I think,
Oh,
and so
yeah, that's right. That's right. You did mention that
I'll
before.
be, yeah, so I'll be there for actually 3 weeks. It'll be cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, a word of advice. My wife went there a couple of years ago, and you have two choices in terms of water.
Oh yeah,
You can
yeah,
either drink nothing but bottled water the entire time,
yeah.
or drink water out of a faucet the moment you get there, and a couple of days later, you'll be fine to actually leave the house.
I see. My plan was to drink my own urine.
That would be pretty. Yeah, no, it's you're going the whole Bear Grylls route now, huh?
I put a little, a little of that, those Mio squirters to.
I'm I'm imagining what's that movie Dodgeball at this point in time,
Yeah.
where Rip Torn, his character, says something like, "Do I have to drink my own urine? No, but I do anyways, because I like the taste. It's sterile, and I like the taste."
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Uh, you're about as useful as a shit-flavored lollipop.
Exactly. If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
Uh,
Nice.
but yeah, so it'll be interesting. The book
Yes.
in Japan is nuts. I can't believe. Well, I didn't realize at first, like because I didn't realize it was is Matt that Mott's
Yeah,
that did he did the commentary on it. So he's
that
technically
is
like a co-author on
huge.
the book. So yeah, that's why it's selling like nut. It went up to like number 50. I gotta check what it is now. But at one point, it was number 50 in all of Amazon Japan, like out of
Wow.
all books.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Dang.
Wow. So he wrote. So what did he do? Like, did he like go through and write like annotations on every page, or like a lot of like commentary on each page, or?
I'm not, no one told me. Like, I gotta figure this out. I need someone to send me a Japanese version of the book
Yes.
with like annotations on the annotation, like translated.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know, but yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know what he wrote on it. I would assume that some of that he brought it to the Japanese, some of the cultural
Right.
references I
Right.
made, or like,
Mm.
or applied it to the Japanese market, like, so but I don't know. So,
That's
That's
another.
interesting.
Yeah. That's very interesting. I'd really like to see side by side the translation of what they're reading of what you said, and then what also the commentary on it. That would be really interesting.
Have you ever seen the movie Lost in Translation with Bill Murray?
yeah.
No.
It's a phenomenal movie, highly recommended. But there's a scene in there which kind of illustrates the entire title of the movie, where Bill Murray's character is doing stand-in ad for some kind of whiskey, and he's getting advice from the camera person on the emotions and expression that he should be having while holding this whiskey.
Mm.
And this camera person is Japanese. They're in Tokyo.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so he's speaking Japanese, going on and on and on for like 5 minutes. And the translator is sitting there listening and nodding and agreeing with what the Japanese person is saying. And when all things are said and done, the translator turns and looks at Bill Murray and says something like, "Be happier." For 5 minutes of dialogue, be happier. I don't remember what the exact words were, but it was that kind of, okay, there is definitely something lost in translation here. I wonder how much of your book got translated either from an entire paragraph down to one sentence, or from one sentence to an entire chapter.
Well, it's interesting because I think probably some of the things that I talk about probably in Eastern philosophy are probably there's words for them that there aren't in. Yeah. So I think because a lot of concepts I talk about are definitely you could find their root, or you could find a parallel in Eastern philosophy. So I bet there are probably some things that could
there's like an entire chapter that is like one word.
Like think about Kaizen, right? Like that word is in order to explain it in English is a longer. But anyway, that's cool. Like, and I guess Mats was at I forgot what it's called. It was either a hackathon or something, and he was showing off the book, and that's what sparked the whole inference. I guess he had a copy of the book. And
I think this is kind of a bizarre experience because they've basically hijacked your book.
Yeah.
And it's like finding your book on a pirate site or something.
It was somebody else's name.
Yeah.
I know, it was weird because I had no idea. Like someone had emailed me from Japan and they're like, "Oh, I'd like to translate your book. I've read the English version."
Mm-hmm.
So I emailed the publisher and I was like, here's this guy. He wants to translate Japanese. They're like, "Oh, well, we've got to talk to our Japanese publisher and they might have a translator." And that was the last I heard of it. And then all of a sudden I look on Twitter and there's a picture of a cover that says soft skills and it's all Japanese, and someone's like, "I finally got the Japanese version of soft skills." And I was like, okay, didn't know that came out.
All right.
but yeah, that's pretty cool to have
it is.
The creator of Ruby, a co-author, promoting the book, but being a co-author on the book. So yeah,
I think I have his email somewhere. I might be able to introduce you.
Yeah, that would be awesome. That would be cool. Just I'd appreciate that because I think I'm trying to figure out what to do from this. Like I don't know if he's a really good English speaker or not. Like if we could do an interview or something on Simple Programmer, but
he's passable at English, but we've been trying to get him on Ruby Rogues for years, and he's not comfortable enough in English to be comfortable doing an hour-long interview with a bunch of American jabberjaws. So.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I wonder if we could do some kind of text-based interview, though.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that's my exciting Japanese news for today. So what's going on with you guys?
I still want to punch Josh in the face.
Yay!
All right.
Let's make that happen.
There's always microcomp next year.
That's right.
Chuck and John are going to go in for plane tickets.
No, I'm just I've been working on this marketing stuff for the rewrite of the JavaScript discourse. And on Wednesday, I threw my hands in the air and said, "Screw it, I'm not doing this today," and spent the entire day writing code for fun, which I haven't done in so stinking long. So I sat down, I had an experiment in mind that I wanted to try. I learned a bit about JavaScript's ES6 proxy object, how it works, and had some fun creating an experiment with that in reproducing a backbone model using ES6 proxies and ES6 features. Didn't completely reproduce all of it, but I got a lot of the features that I really wanted to see into it, so that was fun. But I've been continuing to work on this most of the week, including this morning. I have 5 out of 7 of my screencast transcription documents. I've got them reviewed with notes created, and it's beyond tedious. It is mind-numbingly. I just but at the same time, I'm also seeing the value of it, and so it's this horrible kind of fight within myself between I know it needs to be done, I can see the value, but holy crap, I hate doing this.
Yep.
So I'm hoping in the end it works out though. I think I'm coming up with some pretty good stories to include based on what I've seen in there.
The other option here, instead of reading the transcripts, would be to watch the videos and take notes, and then you could record yourself, and it would be watch me code.
Yes, exactly. Watch me code.
That's awesome.
Meta. No, I thought about doing that, and I think at some point I am going to have to go back and review the actual video content. But I'm finding it a little bit easier to be able to just do text.
Yeah.
Read the text and take the notes because I can copy and paste some of the text. I can reread it without having to rewind video.
Yeah.
So I'm generally finding it easier to do that.
Yes.
But there will be some cases where I want to go back and review the video, and I may end up using some of my notes to create like a teaser video for the bundle out of this. And that'll help having the notes written down. I'll be able to see where in the text I was looking, so I can find it faster in the video.
Nice. Yeah.
It's a good sign if you're in a grind, because every great success comes out of a grind. So
I hope it does. I hope this turns into
also lots of failures.
Lots of failures. That's my biggest fear. I've done that countless times where I go through this big giant effort of grind and end up coming out the other end with just fail.
Well, I think the worst case scenario here is that your course doesn't convert any better than it did, and you've learned a bunch about how to write better emails.
Yeah.
So, and you'll be able to. I mean, you do enough of that now, so you'll be able to, take what you're applying and roll it right into, or take what you're learning and roll it right into the stuff you're doing now. So.
Yeah, and I think this is already having an effect on how I'm writing, because when I wrote my intro paragraph, my about paragraph for this week's Watch Me Code episode, it sounded completely different than what I was writing even 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Cool.
So hopefully it's having a positive impact all around, getting me to really focus more on the problems and solutions and situations instead of just the individual features. I think I need to have the feature list in, like especially in the Watch Me Code stuff. I need to have that feature list in there so people can see, okay, these are the problems I'm solving and the points that I'm covering. But I'm getting more into the situation and solutions in what I'm writing about the episodes now.
Yep. Sweet.
Yeah. On the positive side of things, I have not made any more sales, and subscription is not a positive thing. Let me rephrase that real quick.
I got a root canal this week.
My teeth are falling out, and
heads are falling off.
Heads are falling off. And on the Watch Me Code side of things, I've not had any more subscriptions. But on the positive side of Watch Me Code, I have had a few more sales of bundles. So I think people are seeing the annual cost of things and gravitating more toward the individual bundle sales at this point. So I need to use some of that evidence to begin reshaping the homepage more. I had already planned on including a section about the bundles and individual bundle sales, but this is kind of further evidence that I need to do that, along with figuring out why people are not signing up for the annual subscription, which I still have no clue about. I haven't been able to talk to anyone yet.
Okay.
I've been so focused on the marketing side of the JS this course that I haven't even bothered trying to get in touch with people.
Do you know who's purchased the bundles? Like maybe just I don't know if that's what you're
Well, I
talking
mean,
about,
I
but
think
like
it, I
what
think
they're
it makes sense to, I think it makes sense to keep focused on this
Yeah.
course right now, because that's like the lowest hanging fruit. I think if that's like a straight path to revenue, like if
Right.
we can fix that thing, it's going to generate anywhere from probably $500,000 a month probably.
I hope so.
And so that'll help, and that's that'll cover quite a few dropped monthly subscribers. So
Right.
yeah. I
Yeah.
agree.
It'll be good to get this done. It's just it's taking so freaking long to actually get this done. It's frustrating on many fronts, not just the grind through taking notes on these transcriptions, some of which are like 15 pages long, of just wall of text, no formatting, just wall of text. So
Well, and we only talked about this a week ago, and I mean, unless you do something that has a drastic impact, I don't expect to hear much that's terribly different from last week.
yeah,
Derek, you see this?
yes.
This is the stuff I went through for 10 steps and how to market yourself. I'm serious. It's about 4 inches thick.
Holy
Wow.
crap!
I didn't know that John sold a paper version.
Well, we've got the transcripts now.
Yeah, that's a printout of the transcripts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the ebook, it's the transcripts, it's my interviews with John, and it's a bunch of threads from Reddit and Hacker News and
Mm-hmm.
that type of stuff. So,
See, I expect you, the marketing professional, to do that kind of work. It's incredibly difficult for me to justify this amount of time, quite honestly.
well, I mean, if it takes you, say it takes you 40 hours, right?
It's already taken 40 hours, and I probably have 40 more hours to put into it. I've been
Okay,
working on this for
say it takes you
3 weeks, 2 weeks.
say it takes you 80 hours then.
Yeah.
If you can get it to where it's generating, $1,000 a month in perpetuity, that's eventually that will be worth it.
Eventually,
Yeah.
it's going to take a year for that to be worth it. Because
But
at
you also,
80 hours.
That's not how you think about things, though, because it's not just like you can't just put a value on your time. Because, for one, you have to consider: did you have more profitable things you could be doing with that time? To some degree, right? And then,
I don't know.
the other thing is what is the compound interest on that? Because not only in just because you'll be getting more subscribers and you'll be getting more people that will be on your list and whatnot, but also for the growth that you'll make within as a business person, as a having marketing chops. Like the next time you do this, it won't take you 80 hours.
yeah.
So this is a valuable skill. So I just would just caution trying to look at hours and saying I'm wasting time, because you're obviously growing, because I see pain, therefore I see growth. So that's good. And that's the focus, right? Is if you can slog through this and you can get a result from this and go through this process, then now you will have this new tool in your tool belt, and that's going to be extremely valuable. I always try to think of it too as some of the crap that I'm dealing with at this level. I'm like, well, okay, I'm building a tool that I'm going to use when I hit this higher level. That's going to have a huge leverage point. So it's better to go through the shit now and get that growth. So I just mean this as encouragement, but I think this is going to be a lot more positive impact in the long run.
Yep.
Hope so.
Yep. Well, and also keep in mind that the product specific stuff is kind of a throwaway in some sense. You probably won't use a lot of that again, but everything you learn about your audience is is something that you will earn compound interest on. That will be the avatar. Any avatar that you create is going to be relevant for any product that any product that you sell to this audience. So the better you understand them, the easier it gets.
Yep. That's my whole week.
I wish there was a copy and paste. I wish there was a copy and paste template I could give you, because I could make so much money selling that.
Yeah. Well, even if there was, I mean, the reason there isn't is because of the amount of work that it requires to put into this.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a copy and paste process, which is what you and I are doing, but
right.
There's no copy and there's no Mad Libs for creating an avatar for marketing.
Mad Libs marketing, I like it.
Right, Mad Libs marketing edition.
I mean, there seriously are there are people. What's that? Go ahead. Sorry.
This product is revolutionary.
Yeah.
Insert adjective. Insert noun.
It will grow your noun. Penis.
This is the internet, right?
Wallet.
Yes.
Oh man.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's funny because the last couple weeks, I've seen several people have sent me like affiliate swipe copy.
Right.
And I actually wrote my email this morning about it. I came up with the analogy. I said that so when somebody gives you a generic affiliate swipe copy email, copy and paste, send it to your list and make money. It's basically like you are the guy, like you're one man in the two-man knife throwing team, and you're the guy strapped to the wheel, spread-eagled, and the other guy's the guy throwing the knives at your crotch. And like you both kind of hope it turns out well, but one of you has a lot more at stake than the other person. And it's like if you send these generic emails out, like you'll make $200, and half of your list will be like, wow, this guy really just does not value my time at all. So it's becoming a pet peeve of mine. We had an experience this week with affiliate stuff. So we did this big push with our list for the idea to exit Dan Martell's product, and it's like a $2,000 product, and it's for people who want to start like a venture capital based startup. So kind of the opposite approach to 30 by 500. And so we invest. Oh gosh, I don't even know how much time I invested in this. It was easily 2 solid weeks, and wrote some really good emails. And we killed it on opt-ins. Like we drove a ton of opt-ins. We were in like we were up in the top ranks of the number of opt-ins. And so last night we did the webinar, and so far, the cart opened on like Tuesday, and so far we have sold exactly 1 license and exactly 1 seat in the program. So it's been a rough week. So like I was hoping, so my expectations for this were somewhere between 0 and 50 sales. Like I had no idea where we were going to hit. I was hoping, like if we'd hit 10, like I was really hoping to hit 10, and I felt like that would have been worth our time and the amount of money, because we would have gotten we got a 50% split on the $2,000, and then I get a chunk of that. So it would have been a nice little payday for both of us. But it really, like, it doesn't matter. The list is everything. I mean, I think the offer just did not match our list, and that was the end of the game.
Yeah.
So there really was no way we could do it any better. So we'll see. We've still got a couple more emails. We've got one more email going out tomorrow, but I don't expect. We had an email go out today, and we've gotten nothing. So I don't expect we're going to see any more sales.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of hard to say on that. Like, I can't imagine that. I'll have to see if I can figure out from Dan what his sales numbers on the affiliates are, because I can't imagine that I mean, yes, there's other audiences or affiliates that he had that would be a slightly better fit, but ours was pretty good considering Dan's background, like as far as like, and considering that our audience is want to be entrepreneurs a lot. So I can't imagine that anyone did really well
I
with
think
this.
that I think that Ryan Levesque, Joanna from Copy Hackers, and whose last name I studiously avoid saying.
Weeb.
Is it Weeb for sure?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
Weeb.
All right, it's Weeb. That's how I say it, but I just have never been sure. Yeah, so I think her audience is a better fit. And then there were several people that had like actually specific entrepreneurial lists, and those people I think, but we have like 5% of our list or maybe 10% of our list that has that interest. They
Yeah.
had 30,000 or 40,000 or 50,000 people, 100% of whom were interested in this topic. So they just had a much bigger, you've just got a much bigger pool, and there's only going to be a tiny sliver of people that are going to be willing to spend $2,000. I mean, even if they're interested in entrepreneurship, but they're not $2,000 interested.
Yeah.
What I'm saying though is there can't be that much of a difference between the closing rates. Like, I don't know. I can't imagine that anyone did like a large number of.
Yeah, I don't think
I'd
so.
like to see what the numbers ended up being.
Yeah.
If he'll share those or not. But
Yeah, I mean, we can keep them
just
private, obviously,
yeah.
but yeah,
I
I'd
mean,
like to know that too.
with your emails and stuff, if like we should have had the best at bat that we possibly could have. Like
Mhm.
I can't imagine that there could have been a better. So and I think it was just so I was just questioning like if he's selling this through affiliates, if that's actually working out or not.
Yeah.
And here's the weird thing is like I have not seen an affiliate offer actually work. I've never seen this actually work like to any significant
Yeah.
degree with whichever side I've been on it, right?
Yeah.
Whether I've been promoting it to my list or I've been had someone else do an affiliate promotion to their list,
Hmm.
I've basically never really seen it work. It's always like the
Interesting.
conversion rates are like abysmal, like 0.1% or 0.01%. Like they're
Mhm.
at that level. I've never
Well,
seen anywhere close to a
I think
conversion
that
rate.
where the buzz on that stuff comes from the marketing, the make money online crowd, right? And
Yeah.
I mean, I bet there are some people that are making it work. I bet you anything that Brennan Dunn is able to make it work with the double your freelancing stuff.
Well, yeah, but
Yeah.
that's a different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that like the difference is that you've got with the make money online stuff, you've got this insanely rabid crowd of people. They're all basically a bunch of bright shiny object chasers that are just looking for the next easy button, and so
Right.
they just go from product launch to product launch and buy everything. And it's like the whole market is hyper responsive,
That's
and we
yeah.
don't have that. So
That's true. I'm thinking, but it is pushing me more and more into this. Like, but this is good. Like, I mean, yes, we got kicked in the nuts here, but there's a couple of things to think about. One, it's been a long time since we really got kicked in the nuts. Like
yeah,
sometimes I get on podcasts and they're like, "What's your greatest like name your greatest entrepreneurial failure?" And sometimes I have to like think of like, "Dang, I've had a lot of pretty good success." Like, I mean, obviously it exists, right? But since Simple Programmers inception, there hasn't really been like big failures like times that. So
yeah.
this is good. Like it sometimes it's good to get kicked in the nuts because it wakes you up and you're like, okay, I'm gonna like bite something. Right? Like you can't just be on easy street all the time. Like it's got to be tough so that you like remember that you're
Right.
you're fighting. You're in a war. You're not just like lounging around, sipping Kool-Aid. And then the second part of it, I think, is like this is really reinforce. This is a good learning because it's really reinforcing what we've already suspected, which is that we need to do white label stuff. That
Yeah.
because I'm wondering, even like I said, I'd like to see Dan's numbers because I don't think affiliate marketing works outside of the hyper responsive make money online thing. I don't think it works with big ticket items, and I'm guessing that his effectiveness level was not as high either. So what I'm thinking, like I've got a couple of strategy ideas here. One of them is that based on this. Like, if he didn't sell much through affiliates at all anyway, then it's really like your list buys your stuff. Like, so white
Right.
labeling stuff would make sense, or doing joint things where you're putting your name on it. Actually, I think we'd have a much better turnout from that.
Mhm.
And in my experience shows
Hmm.
this, and every time we've ever promoted anything to list. And then the second thing I'm thinking here as a strategy is let's just take this case with Dan's product here. He might have been better off making a very small offer to our list
Yes.
of like a
Yes.
$5 or $10 product or a $20 product or even a
Yes.
free email course and
Yes.
paying us for that, right?
Mhm.
And just like what we did with Java Code Geeks. And
Mhm.
then get a bunch of people to join, right? Let's say that he got like maybe at that point maybe he'd get the full 2,000 opt-ins or whatever. So he
Affiliate marketing
added
is lead generation, not as. It's the same deal with like buying Facebook ads to your $2,000 course.
right, right.
It just doesn't work.
It's not, yeah. But if you took those same people and you nurtured them, so now
Mhm.
that they're part of your list, and now like 6 weeks or 6 months down the line, now you sell them a $2,000 product, I think then it's going to work.
Yep.
You're also not going to pay 50% commissions on that now. You're
Right.
going to just pay upfront, so
Yep.
you're going to check the people's lists better. So I mean,
Yeah.
I think like just thinking from the two perspectives, like if we do more affiliate stuff and we let someone, essentially advertise to our list, what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to white label it. Say, no, we like
Yeah.
if you want to create a special version of the product and we'll add some content to it and we'll call it our
Yeah.
own product, right? Then yes, we'll promote that and
Yeah.
we'll own that product. We'll do a
Yep.
royalty or whatever kind of licensing deal, or you'll get a commission on it because our list is valuable. And then if we want to do affiliate, like if we relaunch How to Market Yourself or the new stuff that we're launching, when we find lists, I think we want to do like we did with Java Code Geeks and say, look, either we're going to offer them some kind of affiliate deal and say, look, this is going to be like 3 months out before we're actually going to sell,
Mhm.
or we're going to say we're going to pay you an upfront amount, or we're going to do a joint webinar and some kind of
Yeah.
value, but we're not going to try and sell the product
Yeah,
directly.
I think the way, so one thing a lot of people do in the IM space is they'll do affiliate products with 100% commission. So
Yeah,
it'll be like I'm paying you, I sell a book for $7, I pay you $7 every time you send me a customer. So you don't make any money off of that, but you build your list for free, basically. So I think that arrangement actually would be great for us because then we don't have to, like, the thing with if you pay to have people run email ads for you, you're paying them a flat rate regardless. So
yeah,
it's if you pay like 100% commission, it's kind of on them to make the sale, and you don't have to pay anything if they don't.
exactly. Yeah, yep. Yeah, that makes sense. And
Yeah.
then the other like aspects of this, if you think about, like, look how much time Dan probably put into this, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's on the Facebook group, he's doing all these webinars, he's like customizing the stuff, he's like this, like running this big affiliate promotion,
Mhm.
and I don't think he probably got his value. I mean, maybe some of the
Yeah.
lists converted better, but I don't think so. I don't think that. I mean, based on our results, I don't think someone got a 10x right better
Yeah.
results than us, because I mean your stuff was gold. Like, I mean, we got the most opt-ins that we possibly could have, I think, off of our list. And yeah, so I don't know.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of effort in running a program the way that
Yeah.
which no fault to Dan. I mean, he did a great job, and he's following what is industry best practice in this area. Look, this is what people do. This is how they run
Right.
affiliate programs. But I just think that it's overhyped and it doesn't actually work as effectively as some
So
people.
yeah, the way that you make this work is the right way to do this is, and we are never like, I'm never doing an affiliate promotion like this again.
No.
Never, ever, ever. Um, the only way I'll consider doing it is if they have a tested funnel
Yes.
that converts at a specific percentage, and we can figure out a way to do a small test versus just like throwing everything we have at it. So like that's the only condition, and that's really what I think. That's what the way that this can work is if you've got something that works at a specific rate on
Yeah.
relatively cold traffic, and then you use the affiliates to scale up. You don't use your affiliates to test your funnel, which is what happened.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
so you and you know it burns bridges. I mean, I'm not like mad at Dan, but like I don't think I'm ever really going to be excited about doing a promotion again.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So you get kind of one shot with people, and if you don't make it work, then you're kind of that's it.
And to some degree, we burn our list a little bit because, like, especially when you're promoting someone else's thing, it's like, people it's going to be harder to promote our own entrepreneurial thing now because, so I just, well, but again, it's good to it's good to do this at a 26,000 person list instead of the 200,000 person list. When we get to that point, we don't want to make these mistakes. So.
Right.
So I chalk it up as yes, it's a kick in the nuts. Yes, we can. It sucks, but at the same time, it's a really good learning experience, and we're discovering these things at the lower level that are important. And I think I think we're going to come up with a better strategy than other people have. I think the white labeling strategy. I think what we did with Java Code Geeks when we see that play out is going to make a lot of sense. And if we can repeat the strategies that work, I'm never, it also has convinced me too, like I'm not going to do, at one point I was like, oh man, maybe we should be doing like this huge affiliate thing like Dan's doing when we launch a product.
No,
I don't think so. I don't think it's worth the effort. I can't imagine that.
No, it would be worth it for a 2.0 version where we're basically relaunching with all the same assets, all the same copy and everything, and we know it works. So. Yeah, that's a ton of work. I can't. I feel really bad for them. I mean, that would suck. Like they probably put 2 months into this, solid, easily.
Yeah, and I can't imagine that I mean, again, if you took all the lists, right, and all the opt-ins, like how many people got on webinars? How many people got on webinars or got emails like cart open emails? Maybe they generated I don't know, 10,000 from all those lists, if you add them all together, and out of that 10,000, what was the close rate? It's not 1%. I guarantee it's less than that. So let's say it's half a percent.
Yeah, I really think that they this goes back to our whole discussion about the tiered pricing. I really think that they could have made a lot more sale. Like there were people on that webinar that we had last night that I think would have bought at a lower price point. So if they'd had some other offer, we might have made 3 or 4 sales at $500, another 2 or 3 sales at $1,000, and then 1 sale at $2,000. And that's how that's how it works. I mean, that's just how this stuff always breaks down if you get the pricing right. So I think that we could have at least doubled or tripled our take from last night, our sales from last night, if they'd had some kind of tiered pricing. So when we do our course, I want to we'll have to figure out how we do it, but I definitely want to either do some kind of test project first where we test the waters and get people to buy something, or some kind of tiered pricing with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was fun. The good thing that happened this week was we did a big email blast with Java Code Geeks, which is they have almost 200,000 people on their email list, and so we bought basically everyone in the U.S., which was about 70,000 people. I think it only cost what's the total, John? Was it?
It's $1,700.
17? Okay, yeah.
Greece. When I went to the bank and wired it, they're like, you're sending international wire to a bank in Greece? Sure you want to do this? Yeah.
It's a bailout.
Exactly.
But yeah, so they emailed. So basically, it was pretty funny because so I did my usual thing. So they typically send HTML nicely designed newsletter style emails out, and so I was like, all right, I'm not doing that. So I sent them my email, and it was basically plain text. I was like, okay, I want this to be in plain text. They're like, are you sure? Like, that's not, I don't know, that's not what our list is. I'm like, yes, I'm sure. That's exactly what I want to do.
Yeah.
Um, and so it was a personal, like a personal sounding email from John, where I basically found a comment from a guy on Reddit who was ranting about how Java is so enormous that he's been studying it for 3 years and he feels like he's never going to learn everything he needs to know to do his job. And then, of course, that naturally transitions very nicely into a pitch for the 5 Learning Mistakes course.
Yep.
So that's what we did. So, and then we had Thrive has a feature where you can set up a one-click opt-in, like lead pages. And so I set that up, and basically I made it very clear in the copy, like if you click this link, you're signing up for this course, and it's an email course, so don't yell at me if you click the link.
Yeah.
So we sent that out. We ended up getting close to 2,000 clicks. Actually, I can check that. I think it probably is 2,000 clicks now. And then some of them didn't go through for some reason, so we ended up with like around 1,500 new email subscribers for $17.
Mm-hmm.
So a little bit more than $1 a piece. I'm happy with that. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And so far we've gotten 4 sales from that already. So
Nice.
we need to get like around like 20-ish to break even, a little bit less than 20, 18 to 20 to break even, and we'll definitely break even. I think we'll probably turn a profit on this. So the click-through rate, the click-through rate was over 2%, and they were like, holy cow, this is really high for a promotional email. I'm like, yeah, I know. It's because I didn't send a typical promotional email like you sent. So we're at 1940 on the clicks right now. That's the crazy MailChimp Zapier workaround that I did, that I was talking about last week, was for that. So
and Thrive should fix that now. So
yeah, I think we've gotten Thrive's attention now. Like John, the other thing I'm thinking about doing is, if there's something we really want in Thrive, I'm going to submit a support request, and then I'm going to run Twitter ads asking people to go and comment on the thread.
Oh, nice.
So so we can get 5 or 10 people complaining about drip. The next thing I want is I want them to add tagging support for drip to the API. There's no reason that they should not have that.
Yeah.
They did it for MailChimp. So I'm gonna submit a support request, and then I'm going to just beat the bushes and get people to comment on it and try to do some astroturfing.
Nice.
That's a good idea.
And get their attention. Yeah, because it's ridiculous. If they would add that, I wouldn't need to do. I have dozens of opt-in forms that I've created, and they all have these stupid HTML copy and paste nonsense that I have to do to get the tagging to work with drip. So I'm gonna hound them on that.
Yeah.
So I really think that this. I was thinking this week. I've been playing around with different traffic strategies and Google AdWords and everything, and I was thinking about it. I'm like, you know what? I kind of already, my superpower here is really email, right? So why don't I just make email my main traffic strategy too? And it's something I already am good at. I already understand it, and if I just do a little legwork, I found 20 or 30 different outlets that have email newsletters that accept advertising. So I'm just going to go around to each of them, and we'll try to do one a week,
Right.
have some kind of ad that runs. And if we can get email opt-ins for $1, we'll make a profit on that, almost guaranteed. So
and we know what our conversion rate is, right?
Yeah.
Or as we do more of this, then we'll know okay, we're going to get about this many opt-ins. So then we can actually come back and know what to ask. When we negotiate prices for advertising, we can say, look, okay, based on the size of your list, and we can know what's a good deal, which is something that is always tricky with advertising to people's lists.
Mm-hmm.
So the only problem is, I wonder how many lists a lot of lists, when they do advertising, they do display ad or
Yeah, that's true. Yep.
So I don't know how many
Well,
lists will let us send in full email.
yeah, that's true. A lot of them won't. But we might be able to negotiate with some of them. We could probably negotiate like a CPA model where we only pay them for the email addresses that they generate, the email
Yeah.
opt-ins that they generate. So, or we could advertise. We could do the affiliate commission thing where we advertise a Tripwire product and pay them 100%. Or, yeah, we'll have to figure that out. But I think with the Java Code Geeks, I think we could probably do that once a quarter and generate not this many opt-ins, but probably a pretty big chunk. And we can rotate through different offers. Like as we add more courses and stuff, we'll just rotate. So next time maybe we do the blogging course.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. This is if we can figure out these streams that are repeatable that work.
Yeah.
That's the key. Because if you can add, if you can do one shot and add 1,500 people to your list, that's really good. So
yeah.
and then if you can pay for it with the sales, then that's good. Because then when you launch something, and then we've got the back end side of this too. So those people, when they go through the Plinko machine, they'll also get advertised the blogging course and how to market yourself and all of this stuff. So there'll be more profit. Plus, if we launch other things, the list size is going to be so.
Yep. Yeah. So I think the next thing for me this week is going to be I'm going to merge. So I decided to. I don't know if I told you guys about the Sublime. What I decided on the Sublime merger. Simple programmer merger, but I actually decided this week that what I want to do is instead of completely merging them, I'm going to keep SublimeTextTips.com separate, and I'm going to basically just use it to drive traffic to. So it'll be like an affiliate of Simple Programmer, and I'm going to put like a banner, like a ribbon, to send people to the 5 Learning Mistakes course. I'm going to keep getting people to opt into the Sublime text list, and I'm going to set up a full year of autoresponder messages so that I don't have to ever think about it again. And it just collects, because it gets like 17,000 visits a week. So I'm just going to, or a month rather, so I'm just going to take all that traffic, collect as many opt-ins as I can for Sublime, and then we'll have display ads in the Sublime newsletter that sends people over to Simple Programmer. So it'll be just like our own little display ad network running over there all the time. And that way, because I really was not happy about the idea of just sending an email and saying, surprise, I'm going to merge this list with this other list that's completely unrelated. And this way I think we can get probably as many people as would have been happy to come over. We can probably get all those people to come over with us without kicking the anthill and riling everyone else up too much. Because I think we probably would have only ended up being able to bring over like 5 or 10,000 of those 65,000 anyway. Like everybody else would have just gotten upset. So.
And in this case, by doing the slower, I think maybe we can hit 20,000 of them, or whatever.
Yeah.
A bigger number.
Yep. I think this could easily generate $500 to $1,000 a month, ongoing minimum, just off of sales of the 5 Learning Mistakes, or the 10 Steps program. So.
And we were talking about this is also a good test for one strategy we were thinking about was buying smaller blogs, and that have lists or something like that. So.
There's
this DerekBailey.com blog that I've had my eye on for a while.
That place is garbage. Stay away from there. Jeez. All that guy ever does is post videos and then answer questions on Stack Overflow on his blog.
Speaking of videos, Brian Harris sent out an email this week about how he's been responding to emails in his inbox just by recording video. And he sent out this really cool, so he linked to Screencastify, which is this Chrome plugin that you can use. It will record your browser, and it will record your face, like your webcam.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so it's not quite like full system recording, but if you just wanted to show somebody on a web page, or for me, I'm critiquing somebody's copy or something, it's one click, boom, boom, record, and then it automatically uploads to Google Drive. So I think I'm going to start playing with this. I've been using, I have Snagit, and I've been using that for recording, and then I have to like manually upload it, and it's just kind of a pain. So
Screencastify?
yeah, it's just a Chrome plugin. There's a paid version I think that lets you use it across other, like I think you could get an iOS or an Android version if you get the paid. It's like a one-time payment of like $35 or something, and then it's pretty cool.
So he's answering emails with that instead of, because it's faster than typing.
Yeah, because he was like, he gets these emails where he'll be like, and I do this too. You read the email and you're like, well, that's a interesting question, huh? And then you star it, and then you know, and then it sits in your starred messages for like 3 days because you don't know what to say. So he just opens the email, starts reading it, like basically starts recording, reads the email out loud, and then like just stream of consciousness answers it, and then he's done in like 3 minutes instead of spending 20 minutes composing a reply.
Well, I got one up on that. I do that, and then it goes into a YouTube video.
Well, that's actually what I'm thinking, is I might turn it into a YouTube video. So. Yeah,
a lot of my YouTube videos, I'm just going through my inbox. I'm like, I don't want to type out this answer. So I'm pumping out so many videos. Man, I did like 5 or 6 yesterday.
Holy cow!
So, like it's like on average 2 or 3 a day. Like, well, I'm hitting a minimum of 2 a day that I'm recording. That's like my commitment. But like we're pumping out like 2 to 3 videos a day now on YouTube. So
poor little Rodrigo.
Yeah.
His little CPU is just. We're gonna have to buy him a new computer at some point. He's just gonna fry his little CPU down there. And
subscriber base is growing pretty good though. Almost 26,000 subscribers now.
Wow.
Adding about 120 a day now. Like.
Jeez.
Yeah. So. Nice. Yeah, that's definitely. The email list is growing about 60 to 70 a day. So we're outstripping the email growth.
Pretty amazing.
I got that for Xamarin sent me the video. I was able to get them to, so I published that on YouTube, and Josh sent out an email. And
Nice.
How are the views on that? Did we get much of a bump?
We're at 2,971 views on that.
Oh, nice.
Video.
Oh, wow, that actually basically doubled the views.
Yeah.
My email.
So we've got a lot of views. We've got 165 upvotes on it, 3 down votes on it, 83 comments. So it's getting a lot of nice. Interaction. So yeah, so that was good, and that's a lot of watch time, which is good.
Yes. So. Yeah. Yep. That was a good presentation.
Yeah, I've been slowly growing my YouTube audience as well. Not nearly the pace. I think it takes about 2 months for me to gain about a third of what John gets in a day. But my subscriber count is up to 685, which is about 100 more than when I started doing these weekly videos.
Nice.
And my view count is up to 87,000, which is about 10,000 more. So doing pretty good. I'm getting a couple of hundred views on any given video that I upload.
Awesome.
Wow.
Yeah. Getting a couple hundred views on each video is definitely good.
Yeah.
Especially the size of your subscriber base, because I think on Simple Programmer, I mean, like most of the videos, like 1,000 to 2,000 view range. So
yeah,
you're able to pull a couple hundred. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, you're going to be growing quite a bit.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. It's just for me, it's a question of figuring out what I want to talk about, because the way I'm doing my videos, I'm not just, I mean, it's off the cuff kind of conversational style, but I always have some kind of a little story that I'm telling in this as well. So it's like, okay, here's a situation or a question, but I'll tell you what I think about this, but first I have a story, and then I do my little intro slide, and then I tell whatever the story is before I actually answer the question. And I think I've had a lot of really good feedback from people on that format. People say they really like the stories that I'm telling and how I'm relating it back to personal experience and something that they can relate to as well.
It's video email, Derek.
It is. And honestly, a lot of the things that I'm talking about are former blog posts or former emails,
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
things that I've written in the past. Like today's video, I just uploaded it a few minutes ago, and it was a blog post that I wrote several years ago, like 6 or 7 years ago. I say longer, like 8 years ago, on one of my old blogs. But it was just retelling it in video format this time. So, and I've done that with several of my previous videos as well.
Yeah, it's always good to take content from one place that did well and then make it in the
Yeah.
other place. I found I did a lot of videos from popular blog posts, and then we've actually been turning it around and taking some of the popular videos and doing blog posts. Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, I've started writing a new book, tentatively called the software, or what did I call it? Do you remember, Josh?
John's second big ass book.
Yes.
The Complete Software Developer Career Guide.
Nice.
The tentative title, and it's
I
got
tr-
5.
We're gonna have to cross promo. That's
I
all have to
tried.
do.
I tried to talk John into writing several smaller books, and he's like, "Nope, doing another big one." So
Big one. Yeah, I'm considering doing a couple of smaller ones right now. I've got a guy that I've been talking to, and I need to follow up with him today. He saw one of my YouTube videos on Browserify, and he was like, "Oh, hey, I really liked your video. I wrote up this thing for one of my college classes a couple of years ago." And so he sent me this PDF, and it's basically 3 really well written getting started guides for Browserify and Gulp and one other thing I can't remember off the top of my head. But it's all these 3 things in one paper. And I was like, hey, I really like this. Would you be interested in republishing it on Watch Me Code as some getting started guides?
Oh,
He's
cool.
like, yeah, that sounds great. So I'm going to take his material, produce some sample code, like actual files in a zip file, and then put together those things, the PDF and the sample code as a free download for anyone, but then offer a little bundle, screencast bundle with the ones that I can. I think 2 out of the 3 of them I can offer a screencast bundle with it for a few dollars, and give people a getting started guide with code and screencasts as a cheap way to get people in the door for Watch Me Code and help build this guy's audience for him as well.
That's a great idea. That's the white label, essentially.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it would have his name and profile and everything all over the writing and the code, of course. But then he basically said he didn't want any money for it. So I'm like, that's even better.
It's free advertising.
Yeah, I mean, free advertising for him, which is great. It makes him look good, but it's going to help me out. I think it'll help me out quite a bit as well. I honestly don't know if there's any money to be made off of his getting started guides by themselves, but the combination of the getting started guides with the screencast bundles, there's definitely a little bit of money to make there.
Nice.
So that's going to be interesting. And then on top of that, I have a new RabbitMQ blog post coming out on Monday, which was, again, another Stack Overflow answer that I turned into a post. And I sat back and thought about it for a second and realized I've got probably half a dozen chapters for an advanced RabbitMQ patterns book already. So I could very easily take the blog posts that I have, start compiling them, and push it out as a very early intro, very early version of an advanced RMQ patterns book, which my current RabbitMQ patterns book on LeanPub plus my my RabbitMQ layout book are selling pretty well these days. I sell 5 or 6 copies a week on both of these, and I don't really do any hard push marketing for them at this point. It's all it's Stack Overflow questions and blog posts that end up getting people to even know that these things exist, and they're selling pretty well. So if I put a little bit of effort into this, I think I could make these things really bring in some money for me again. But that's, I mean, kind of long-term goal of doing that. Once I get past the JavaScript, I'm probably going to, in addition to looking at getting the Watch Me Code homepage revamped and getting that marketing angle done, start putting in a little bit of time on the RabbitMQ side of things again.
Yep.
So lots of fun stuff, fun opportunity there. Several ebooks that I want to write, quite honestly. I've had a couple of requests for promises, email course, or ebook. I've had a request for general design patterns in JavaScript. And these are things that I've thought about doing a number of times. So
On the promises one, have you told people it's coming later?
Yes, I
Nice.
promise I will do it later.
Yeah, I'm doing with mine. So what I'm doing this time around is I wanted to start writing again. So I'm writing 1,000 words a day. I'm basically writing 2 Pomodori a day. So, which ends up being about 1,000 words, a little bit more usually. But so I'm writing blog posts, and then so what I've done is I've gone and I've created a Trello board, and I have the entire book, like every chapter of the book already planned out.
Mhm.
So every day
He sent me this Trello board. He's like, "What am I missing here?" And I'm like, it's like there's like 150 cards on this Trello board. I'm like,
and
looks
I
pretty good to
deleted
me.
one of them.
Yeah.
I am not an editor. I am the first draft king. I
Yeah.
shape the first draft of everything I do. Like
Yeah.
I just like I cut out like one little thing, and then like the first time I put it down, that's what I want. I never want anything different than the first thing that I come up with. So that's what I did. So I've got all my chapters. There's like 60 something chapters in this book, and I'm basically just taking, every day when I sit down to do my Pomodori, I'm writing, and I'm writing whatever the next chapter is, and I'm just going to spend that time writing it, and then I'm publishing it as a blog post on Simple Programmer first, and then so the content is going to go out as blog posts. So I'll be producing blog content, which will be the book as it's dripping out, and then when I'm done with the book, I'll have produced, 60 blog posts or whatever it is, and then I'll have the whole book. So it'll be double purposed.
Right.
So
Are you going to go through a publisher on that one again, or do like LeanPub or what?
So what I'm thinking with this one is, I'm not going to do. I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to. I don't think I'm going to do LeanPub. I think I'm just going to, because we've got it'll already be somewhat edited because we have our editorial staff, right? So I'll probably then have one more person like tie it all together. I'll probably pay someone to do the formatting for the book and to produce it, and then have a professional cover on 99 Designs created. And then I think what I want to do is self-publish it on the different sources, on Amazon, on whatnot, and then use the print on demand. There's a couple of companies that will let you like create space.
Yeah, create space.
Right.
Yeah, and then have a Kindle version and all that, and then see how that's going, and see if I can get distribution in Barnes & Noble and stuff like that, because I already have a book that might be able to get me in, because Soft Skills is now in just about every Barnes & Noble. So
except for mine.
Oh, it hasn't showed up there.
Our computer book section at my Barnes & Noble is about the size of the bookshelf that you see behind me.
Oh, okay.
You hear that? Derek selling all his books.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I am the Barnes & Noble. I mean, that literally. That's
But my plan would be then then obviously release an audio version and see how that's going, and probably even just let that happen for a year, and then when sales start to slow down, if they do, then I think I would probably take it to a publisher, and then I think at this point, I don't know, we'll see. It would be good to shop it around to publisher, because you can always go self-published and then publisher.
Right.
It's harder to go the other way around unless you own rights. So I think to me that makes the most sense, because then you're taking the shot at it and you're getting 100% of the profits when you sell to your list, right? And then if you do go with a traditional publisher, then you could get the distribution if you need it, and then you could really have an idea of whether.
I'm not 100% sure that's true about but I'm not sure that that's true about publishers being willing to accept self-published books to republish something that's already been out there.
It
I've
happens a lot more
seen,
often than you think,
yeah,
at
I've
least in
seen
the tech
pragmatic
world.
programmers do it, and I've also
Yep.
seen
Okay.
Pearson.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I guess, man, yeah, I guess
And
those,
Manning will actually do the opposite. Manning will do open source books. So
Yeah.
and also O'Reilly will do as well. So you write the book for the publishing company, but you do it in an open source manner on GitHub, and people can read it online for free, or they can buy it through the publisher.
Hmm.
And so what with me, when I did my Backbone plugins book, I made $22,000 off of LeanPub with that. And then I went to Prog and said, "Hey, would you like to distribute my book? Here's my sales data." And they're like, "Oh yeah, that'd be great." So I brought in another 5 or 6,000 on top of what I had already made by just distributing through
Yeah.
Prog.
And I think that, and the thing that I'm thinking too is like I'm going to have a lot of leverage here because soft skills, because this is basically
Yeah.
guaranteed to be a best-selling book because soft skills sold so well, right? And because we have such a huge audience. Like, I mean, maybe it does, but there's a, I won't say guaranteed, but there's a really high percentage chance that this is going to be a bestseller. So in this industry, especially considering how wide it's going to be. In fact, I think this has potential to do better than soft skills because.
And if it's not a bestseller, you can just pay people to buy it, and then it'll become a bestseller.
There you go.
So I think there'll be a lot of leverage there because I mean, if you just had a self-published book and then you go to a publisher and you're like, oh, will you publish this? I think but if you say, well, look, I mean, here's soft skills, it's one of the best-selling software development books. I've got a new book. Do you want that one? I think that you've got a lot more leverage.
Totally.
So anyway, that's what my plan is. Obviously, me and Josh will talk about this when we get closer to the end, because this is going to be part of Simple Programmer, by the way. Like, I mean, my other book is, but this one will actually be in the revenue pool of Simple Programmer. So
That's funny that you're talking about this because I'm actually looking at doing the same thing with Get a Coder Job.
Nice.
And, yeah, in fact, if it's okay, I'll just go ahead and steal the mic.
Yeah, do it.
You.
Go for it.
So I'm going to back up just for a second because I'm kind of in a spot with money.
Okay.
I have a sponsor that hasn't paid me yet, and I've got people to pay, and I don't have all the money I need to pay them. And so I've been trying to figure out what to do with it. And so I decided that I'm going to hurry and sit down and see how far I can get on the rest of this book, see if I can get it close enough to where I feel comfortable pre-selling it. And then I'm also going to do a package. I've been wanting to do a video course with it, but I haven't had a chance to sit down and record it, and I've decided that doing it as webinars would actually probably be a good way to publicize it as well. And so I'm going to I actually scheduled it over the next 2 months. I have, I think, 10 webinars that I've scheduled. And I'm basically going to sell access to it, so they're going to get access to it as a course. But people can buy into just the ones they want, or they can buy the entire package. And I'm hoping that I can bring in enough sales over the next week to pay for everything, and then hopefully I'll also get paid, and that'll also figure that out. But yeah, my plan is to sell copies of the book, and they'll get the rough draft, and then they'll get it as I polish it up as well. And then also sell access to those videos and webinars, or however they get access to them before or after the fact. I'm still figuring some of this out, though, and I'm trying to decide if this is a good idea or a terrible idea, and I'm not quite completely convinced.
The webinar or the webinar, using the webinars as the video content, or using or doing this in order to fill the monetary gap, which
Both.
So I think, like, my opinion on the monetary gap, I don't think that's a good idea. I think the webinar part is a good idea. I think the best way to fill the monetary gap is to be the squeaky wheel and just like every single day call up that sponsor on the phone personally and say, "Where's the money?"
Right.
I think that's going to be the
Yeah.
most effective thing that you're going to do to be able to generate the cash.
Yeah, that
Because
gets me out of the frying pan for this invoice and the invoice that's coming in a week and a half, and then I'm hoping that Ruby Remote Conf would fill the gap for the rest of it. And I'm already getting sales for that, so I'm not overly concerned about it. But yeah, for right now it's kind of tough, and I hate not paying people.
Mm-hmm.
what's
So
your outlet? What's your gap?
it's about $2,500.
Okay, that's not a huge gap.
Yeah,
And
it's
then
it's not entirely insurmountable.
how are you in that position? Like, I mean, because even if the sponsorship comes through, it sounds like you're pretty tight on the.
I am pretty tight until July when I start getting sponsorship money again. I'm going to be sending out invoices here next week for the next quarter's worth of sponsorships, and some of those will come in early anyway. So I think I'll be okay. I think it's just a few weeks that there's this gap that I have to figure something out for.
So you're not pulling profit right now?
No, not really. It's almost entirely off of the podcast sponsorships, and
Which,
I've had to sink a bunch of money into my car to get it repaired and a few other things, and
what's your biggest expense?
paying Mandy.
Okay. What's your second biggest expense?
Probably hosting.
Just pull the plug on all your websites.
Yeah, totally.
How much is hosting costing you?
I think it's like $800 a month.
And what all does that include?
I can probably turn off a bunch of those servers now that I've moved everything over to WordPress, because some of them aren't being used anymore now that I think about it. That'd probably cut that in half,
Yeah, that'd be nice.
or better. But yeah.
Okay. But yeah, I don't. I mean, I don't know. You know, you guys can chime in too, but I don't think that doing the book thing. I don't like
I agree.
getting put against your head with the book, and then
Right.
having
Yeah.
feeling like you have to make $2,500.
I think you could very easily make $2,500 off of it, but I agree with John's sentiments. I think your
Yeah.
best bet for getting out of this situation is to hang up on us right now and call that sponsor.
Yeah, I got an email back from them this morning saying that they were bugging their accounting department again.
Okay.
So I think I'm just gonna be a little bit obnoxious.
Yeah.
Yep, be obnoxious.
And on the other side of that, if you have even a little bit of money and you can go to the people who have the best relationship with you and say, I'm sorry, I can't pay you everything right now, here's a tiny bit.
I've already done that.
And then slowly work down that chain to the
Yep.
people that just do that as much as you can. I mean, as much as it sucks, even taking out a small loan or credit card cash advance if you absolutely have to, if you get to the point where you're going to lose work and you're going to lose something incredibly important because you haven't been able to make the payments, that's like last resort. Absolutely sucks, but it may be an option.
Yeah, well, and it's a short-term fix, right?
Yeah,
So
You need a buffer.
right.
I do, and I had a buffer, and then I used it to pay my back taxes.
Yeah.
Which is
If I had
probably
held on to that buffer, I
That's
would
a
be
good-
really okay right now.
that's a
Yeah.
good use of buffer.
That is a
though.
good use of buffer.
Well, you need to reestablish a new buffer,
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
and you need to make sure that this doesn't happen. Like, you know what I mean? Like from
On a regular basis.
Yeah,
Again,
and
it keeps coming back. I know you don't want to say anything, Chuck, but I'll say it. You got to figure out this Mandy situation. Like, you don't have to reply back because this is public, but I'll say it because I can be the asshole jerk. You don't have to be. But you've got everything keeps coming back to that. Like, every single time that you're in a crunch, that there's a problem, so I think you've got to figure something different out than this. Like, you've got to. I don't know. I mean,
You either have to figure that out, or you have to look at it from the other side and become so dang profitable by raising rates
Right.
and other things
Yes.
that it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly. One of those two has to happen.
And it's more likely the easier thing the easier of those two things is to become so dang profitable that it doesn't matter.
I was going to say, I think that's it, because I have a few sponsorship spots that I can fill this next quarter.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And if I do that, I mean, that aren't filled this quarter.
Right.
So if I can get those filled, then this really becomes a non-issue very quickly.
Here's another thought too. What if you, I don't know how your scheduling works in the sponsorships, but what if you just pull some of that money forward? So you basically just say, look, I'm booking now for the next quarter. I'm booking early.
That's what I do. I start booking a month in advance. So it is that
Well,
time.
I'm saying, I'm saying maybe you book a quarter in advance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you could that if you did that, that would let you get, like, if you book this quarter and then you start booking the next quarter, then you've got your buffer back.
Right.
That makes sense. Because I'll have to leave that in the bank anyway.
Yeah.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, but you'll be. I agree, but you'll also be borrowing from tomorrow, so you have to like.
Yes. Well, but not
like,
really. I mean, you're only borrowing from tomorrow if you stop.
If I spend it.
Well, no, you're only borrowing from tomorrow if you stop. Because this is a situation I was in with freelancing too. Like.
Oh, I see.
You get the money up front, and you're taking it from tomorrow, but you're going to get the next thing in a month. You're going to get the next thing, right?
Oh yeah.
And then you're getting the money, So it's like you're always like kind of a month ahead, and at some point if you stopped, you'd have a gap, but you just don't stop.
Yeah.
So,
that makes sense. Yeah, I mean I've looked at it, and ideally I'd like to be 3 months ahead for both personal and business finances, and that way everything just continues to get paid. And then, if I have a whole quarter that nobody wants to sponsor, or I screw something up and my sponsors all leave, then that gives me some time to figure stuff out before I'm in trouble.
And I mean, one thing to consider too is like I think the greatest luxury in life is to not have to look at the balance in your checkbook. Like the greatest stress reducer in life, like if you said, okay, what is the best thing that you could possibly do for your life that's going to benefit you more than anything else, I would say that is my answer, is like for most people at least, like because if you don't have that, then like 80% of your stress disappears when you never have to ever care what the balance is in your checkbook.
Yeah, that's true. I agree. That would be really, really helpful.
And that's possible for anyone, right? Like it's not like, oh well, you get rich and then you don't have to worry about that, because it's like it's just a matter of, because even someone working at McDonald's, they can have that if their expenses are low enough and they have enough of a buffer, and they know that their income is always higher than their expenses, and they've got a buffer. If you've got those three things going on, then you're in that place, and then you're like, okay, it's all cool.
Yep.
So I'd want to get to there as fast as possible, because for obviously just from a financial solvency reason, but also from a stress reduction reason, which is going to, right now, any energy that's being poured into this financial stress is burning you out from energy you could be actually spending to make more money. And until you get to that point, it's like wasted energy. So I think when you get there, you're going to have a lot more, you're going to be more profitable, because you're going to have more energy to put into the business instead of worrying about these problems,
Yeah, that makes sense.
On the webinars thing, so I do like the idea, and I would actually suggest that you do the webinars before you do the book.
Yeah, if I'm not going to grind it out here within the next week, I am going to do the webinars before the book.
Yeah, because the book is going to be a lot higher effort and a lot lower payback. It's frustrating, but like writing a 200 or 300 page book, it has less perceived value than doing a 10-week series of webinars.
But also consider, well, let me ask a question first. How much of the book have you written already?
I've written like a chapter, so not a lot.
Okay. So when I did my Backbone plugins book, I spent, I don't know, a couple of months working on the first 5 chapters, and then it literally sat there doing nothing for a year and a half. And I finally, after a year and a half, I decided, you know what, I need to just get this thing out there and see if there's any real interest in this. So I published those 5 chapters on LeanPub. And I very clearly said, look, this is very early release. If you're buying this now, you're buying knowing that I will continue to put out more work and more chapters. And it started selling. And I spent the next 2 years finishing it. And all the while, it was continuing to sell more and more books. And every time I released another chapter, I updated the price and updated the marketing. And it was a cycle that took like 3 or 4 years to actually complete this book. But it was not a super stressful, not a super grind for me to get it done. So it doesn't have to be this mega grind to get it completed. Maybe you grind for a day or two to get 4 or 5 chapters done, and then you start pre-sales on LeanPub just to get a few extra dollars a month and to get that market validation and to get the motivation to set other things aside because you know you're already making money off of it.
Yeah, that makes sense. What I'm looking at, I actually already put the webinars into my schedule. And not next week, but the week after, I scheduled 2 of the webinars, and then I have a week break, and then I have 2 more the following week, and it just kind of goes from there. So, yeah, what I'm looking at here is just if I can do those webinars, then I can work those out so that it all sort of lines up.
Yeah.
But yeah, if I can do that, and I am really considering charging for those webinars.
I think you should.
And then I'll charge. What I'm looking at is, I think I have 10 or 12 scheduled, so I think I'm going to sell them as a package, and then you can also just buy them one-off. But buying them one-off is going to cost you a bit more than it's going to cost to get the whole package.
Here's one thing to consider too with this whole thing, with the book and with the webinar, just like plowing forward. If you're going to burn the boats, burn them completely to the fucking ground. Like, burn the boats. Like, the worst thing that you could possibly do is set the boats on fire, then put them out, and then get in the boats, right? And be like, we're retreating. Because if you do that, you will be screwed. So it's either you got to be like, I am in this, I am burning the boats, we are killing the Aztecs, we're taking Tenochtitlan or whatever, right? Or we're not doing this. We're not burning the boats. We're keeping the boats pristine. No one better sabotage the boats, right?
Because it's actually what Cortez did. He did not burn the boats.
He put
a myth.
Holes in the boats.
I think he kept a bunch of them. He kept a bunch of them.
There was one salvageable boat, and he said any cowards that want to not, he said I actually did sabotage.
Who cares if it was?
Anyway, I get the metaphor.
It's a great metaphor.
Josh is the actually guy.
Yeah, geez. Actually.
Right, so you're telling me if I'm going to do this, I need to just do it and not give myself any options to back out.
Yeah, it's got to be like, I am going to write this book. This is the schedule. It's going to ship on this date. There is no way I'm not going to do this, because you're basically diverting a large amount of resources.
Right.
And look at the Ruby, the rail clips thing, right? Like, that was halfway burning the boat, and that really hurt you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Don't do that. Instead, like, you're either going to say, look, I am shipping this book. I am going to spend 2 hours a day writing this book. It's going to come out. I'm doing all these webinars. I'm pre-selling this book. I'm 100% committed to doing this, or don't. Because if you spend all this time with these webinars, if you spend all this time writing some of the book, and then it doesn't come out, then you're going to be have wasted all these resources. So that's
I'm going to rescind my previous advice and totally agree with John on this one, because when I look at my situation where I was when I wrote that Backbone Plugins book, I had a full-time job. It was easy for me to start writing that and not worry about it. And when I finished it, I didn't have a full-time job, but I had full-time consulting. My consulting hours were paying for my hours to write that book, and that was the only entrepreneurial thing that I was doing at the time was writing that book. I wasn't doing Watch Me Code. I wasn't doing anything else. I was just doing consulting and writing that book. So it was easy for me to take that very lax approach to it, which
Right.
in your case I don't think is the right thing to do. I think John is.
I think he's right too. It feels
Yeah.
it feels right. So
Yeah.
I would say, like, I think actually that what's really burning the boats here would be committing to the webinars.
yeah.
And like I would prioritize that because
I agree.
those have a specific, like, if you commit that they're going to be on this date, this date, this date, and this date, then
Yep.
you have to get that content done because there's going to be
Yes.
people there regardless of how you're feeling one day. And then that way it kind of drives you, it forces you to basically prep all the content that's going to go in the book, and then the book is more work, so you come and backfill that later after you've got kind of because you're going to have to iterate on this. This is what I'm finding, like with this email course stuff. I'm doing interviews and I'm doing blog posts and emails, and I'm like iterating on it. I'm kind of developing my stump speech on it, and I don't actually know like how the whole thing's gonna look when I do write a book or whatever yet, because I'm still kind of figuring it all out. And doing the live stuff sort of forces that out of you in a way that, like, if you just sat down and tried to write a book about it, you'd probably get stuck. And I'm actually finding the interviews, doing podcast appearances and this stuff is really helping me, because I come up with stuff that I never would have come up with. Like, consulting is the same way. If I'm, giving people specific advice on their situation, I come up with stuff that I never would have thought if I'd just been sitting there thinking about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
So I think like doing a pre-sale. One way you could tackle this would be to do like a limited pre-sale of the webinars. You sell a certain number of tickets, and that's it, just to kind of validate it, and that way you don't completely kill the demand. So maybe you cap it at 20 or 30 people, $50 or $100 a pop or something, just to make it significant enough that it's not, you're not wasting your time completely.
Right.
And then just get them done, get them recorded, come back, refine the content, write the book, package it up. And I think also if you can get like another thing that would be really good to add to that would be, if you have a smaller cohort of people going through it, you could offer some kind of hot seat with people where you're helping them with their specific situation, like Derek and I are doing, and that stuff is amazingly valuable. Like Perry does that a lot with the Mastermind Club. Like, he's got these hot seats, and I have learned so much. Like, you wouldn't think that listening to a guy who runs a crematorium would really teach you a lot about marketing, but like, you hear enough of those, and you're like, when you run into a situation, you've got like this huge store of solutions that you can tap into. So
that's what this whole podcast is, right?
Yeah.
for people that are watching us.
Yeah.
This is it. It's like a bunch of hot seats. So
exactly.
It's also the developer's soap opera, but
Yeah.
It totally is.
Chuck, if you cap it like that, though, that'll give you some. It helps you a lot because
scarcity.
It gives you some real scarcity, and that way you don't have to feel stupid. Like if you did all this work and you sold, 10 seats or whatever, or 10 copies, it would be kind of a drag. But if you sell 10 copies and they go in 15 minutes, you're going to be pretty pumped, and you can legitimately come back and say, when I offered this, it sold. It sold in 17 minutes or whatever.
And just stagger it out. I mean, I guess you can have a plan with the webinars, right? When you sell them, the first webinar, when you advertise that, sell 10 seats, like Josh said.
I wouldn't sell them individually. That's just me. I think that's going to be a lot of work, and you're not going to have any continuity through the whole thing. And like, people are going to buy the first one, not the second one, and the third one, and it's just going to be it would be a nightmare, I think, to manage.
So you're saying
I like the
all
idea of
seats
hot
as a
seat,
package?
really.
Yeah, 10 webinars about getting a programming job. Like, why would you not sell all of those together?
I agree.
Like,
So
you're gonna buy the one about resumes and I don't know. Like, it just doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yep.
Well,
That's funny
okay.
because I didn't actually put one in about resumes.
Okay. Well,
I probably should, but
So you're talking. So you're saying, okay. So I'm going to give you 10. Well, people aren't going to be able to attend all of the times because they're going to
it's a
not be able to
10-week
skip those.
course.
yeah, they'll get
It's a
access
10-week
to the
course.
video.
Yeah, and they'll get the
Oh, the
replays.
Yeah,
replays.
they'll get the
Yeah, they don't
replays.
have to
And
attend it live.
So you're thinking
yeah,
selling like maybe 10 seats at $50 or $100,
Yeah, just to get paid to develop the product, basically, and then you're committed to the schedule because you've.
and it'll
For
just be
me,
those
this
people
this
on
would.
there, so it'll be
Yeah,
more
this would.
individualized,
Yep.
yeah,
interactive.
Yep.
Okay, I could see that. Okay,
Yep.
because what I was thinking was so you like sell the first webinar to the list at 10 seats or whatever, and then depending on how that goes, either open up more seats or make the next one free.
Well, I think you. I mean that. Yeah, I think it depends like how committed you are, I guess, to going through with the whole series.
yeah.
Like if you just know you're gonna develop this product, then it makes sense to just do the whole thing and just
Yeah.
Yep.
sell the whole thing. Um,
Burn the boats.
Yep.
Yep. All right.
burn the boats and then burn the ashes.
That's right. Gather the ashes, press them into coal, burn those. Use the ashes and coals from the burned boats to light the fire that fuels this product.
Yeah. So far in my list, I have 14 webinars.
Okay,
Nice.
that's probably. I'm feeling like that's long.
Yeah.
I would say 8. I would
Yeah.
say if you can get this down to 8, because really the people are. I actually wrote an email about you this week, Chuck. So be looking for that. But keep in mind that this is so the whole discussion from a week or two ago about the passing parade and the stocked pond. Like this is a passing parade market. You've got one shot at people when they need to get their first programming job.
Right.
So like the more you can compress that down, like compressing that is actually a benefit that you can sell more than stringing it out. Like
Okay.
90 days to your first programming job is not as awesome as 11 days to your first programming job. You know what I mean?
Right.
So the more that you can tighten up that, and condense it down, the better.
Okay.
So don't feel like you have to have. You can combine those webinars.
Yeah.
into
I
two,
think I
like,
can.
Yeah. Maybe they end up being 14 separate videos, but they're like 30 minutes each instead
Yeah.
of
an hour each.
instead of 14 weeks.
Okay.
But yeah, this is good. You just have to and then put a schedule. Like if you're doing this, you're doing
Yes.
this. So put a schedule for the book. What chapter is going to come out when? Do like Trello board or something, some kind of commitment. Every day I'm writing so much, or every week this is my quota,
Yep.
and this is a ship date on the book, or at least even if you don't have a ship date on when the book actually physically ships, have a ship date on when you're done writing the first draft.
Right.
And then the other writing tip I'd say is like, well, I mean, you have to take this with a grain of salt considering the source, but write it all and don't revise or edit, or then go
No,
back
I won't
and
get
do
it done
that.
if I try to revise or edit. I
Yeah.
just
Yeah, just
So on that front, one thing that I've been doing that's really been working well for me is because I've been trying for a long time to break my habit of rewriting as I go, right? So what I'm doing now is I am sitting down and I'm writing I'm starting with tomorrow's email, and it's like a brain dump of tomorrow's email, and I get to like 300 or 400 words, and then I just stop. And it's like I do not allow myself to use the backspace key except for like spelling typos, which I
Typos,
can't
right.
can't seem to. Yeah, so like, and the way I draft is I do phrases, like I do 3 to 4 words on a line, hit enter, 3 to 4 words on a line, hit enter. So I just do that, do not allow myself to go back, rearrange. If I think of a better way to say something, I type it again. And I just keep going, and then I do like around 300 or 400 words of that. Then I go back to yesterday's email that I drafted and polish it.
nice.
Because the problem I've always had is like I need to do an email today, right?
Yeah.
Which means I have to write the subject line, I have to write the intro and the conclusion, which are always what take me the longest. Well, if I've got yesterday's email, I've got a thing already drafted, then I can just go back and polish that, and I don't have to like be drafting today's email today and then polishing it. And this is working. I don't know why I never thought of this before, but it's really it's working really, really well. So I'm also finding I'm coming up with I'm like actually planning out like almost a whole week's emails in advance, and then I just like sit down and just I just kind of go through them. I used to kind of like I'd cherry pick my ideas or write whatever I was thinking that day or whatever. So.
Yep. Yeah, I like that. That's a really good idea.
Yeah, because for me, the first draft does not come like if I'm. It either comes out completely polished and ready to go,
Yeah.
or it comes out in like this raw, ragged, note-like format.
Yeah,
There's no in between for me.
Yeah, the way I put it is, it either comes out really smooth the way you want it, or it comes out lumpy. It's just kind of like oatmeal. And then I have to break up those lumps and smooth it out and make sure that it's the consistency that I want it.
Yep.
I was thinking more like poop. It's either full of good fiber and it's smooth and it wipes easily, or it kind of sprays everywhere and is nasty.
This episode is some kind of low for us, I think.
Oh man.
I'm trying to think of the word count. It's like we got poop, we got.
And this is the Ace Ventura episode.
This is when nature calls. Nonsense, poopy pants.
Oh man.
Wow.
So on the subject of webinars, completely changing subjects, I have 320 people registered for my Intro to Functional JS.
Sweet.
Nice.
Yeah, and I've been talking with Chet, the guy that I'm doing this with, and we are planning on doing at least 3 webinars on this. We're going to do like the real high-level intro, kind of hold your hand stuff for this first one, and we're going to gloss over some topics like monads and functors and all the crazy academic potty mouth language that you can imagine. But then we're not gonna really get into monads, mo problems. We're not really gonna get into the depth of it until second and third and probably fourth webinar on this. So I think it's going to turn out to be a pretty dang phenomenal series. That I'm going to make the first one free for sure, but I might end up making the second and third and fourth. You either watch it for free live because you're registered, or you'll have to pay for it as a download later.
I think that actually makes a lot of sense because it's going to be hard. I think it's going to be, at least right now, learning to sell a paid webinar is like one more thing you don't need.
Yeah, and exactly. I think
you're going to have like a lot of list growth out of this.
Right.
So, especially if you can get great people to partner with that have audiences.
Yeah.
I just have one request. Can you make one of the webinars called Going Deep with Monads?
Oh my goodness.
I thought you were going to go to poop again.
Or monad
Poop counts
deep.
for like 6 words on your word count, by the way.
Yes. I like monads, mo problems. That's my personal favorite.
Yeah, but Derek, doing these live and then paying, having a bundle that you sell for 30 or 50 or $100, like that's killer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll
Are
be
you
some.
gonna
Sorry, go
to
ahead.
split profit with your co-hosts?
At this point, I have not discussed that with Chet because we're planning on doing this first one for free altogether. I asked him directly if he would like some compensation in some way for doing this, and so far he has said no. But I am going to talk to him about making the other ones for sale after the fact, and I do want to make sure that I compensate him for that in some way. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do a per sale thing at this point because I don't have the infrastructure set up for that right now. That may be something I can do with the Easy Digital Downloads and the WP Affiliate built by the same guys. I might be able to do that. I'm going to have to look into that, but it might be easier for me to just give him, $500 or $1,000 or something.
The other option would be to just basically say, look, we both own the rights to this content.
Oh, there you go.
We can both sell it, like, I mean, it kind of sucks for him that he doesn't have an audience to sell it to,
Right,
or maybe he
right.
does. But that way it's essentially his product too.
Right.
But then
Or you could
can,
offer him. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say you could offer him all of the different options and just let him pick the one that makes most sense for him. So then if he
Yeah.
doesn't have the
There you go.
audience, then it's,
Right.
Yeah.
well, then I'll give you this flat fee and then I can just
Right.
sell it however I want or whatever. I don't know if I would give him a cut of all sales because that can be kind of a pain,
I don't think
but
I would go for that. But if you split the licensing, like, he's actually getting a big benefit out of that because he's learning how to create and package a product, right?
Right.
So, plus he's getting a product to sell.
Yeah,
so.
it depends on what his career goals are, though. He might not be interested in heading down that route.
Yes.
But yeah, that's a good idea. I'll talk to him about that more because we still have 9 days left until the actual webinar. So we pushed it out that far for scheduling between both of us, and also because I was really nervous about doing it. And now that it's scheduled out this far, I'm like, we should have already done this by now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to put together a small email sequence that'll go out across the next week to get people warmed up to it again.
Yeah.
So that way they're on fire about it and will have a higher likelihood of actually attending.
Yes. Yes, I agree. That's a good idea. So you're not surprising people.
Yeah.
Especially if you don't have, like, GoToWebinar has, like, an infrastructure in place to remind people.
Yeah.
I don't know how good the platform
Crowdcast it'll send people an email 10 minutes before it starts.
Okay. Yeah, that's not enough. GoToWebinar usually reminds you, like, 2 or 3 times in the 24 hours leading up to it. So.
Yeah, but I'm gonna put together. They're not gonna be great emails, but I'm gonna put together a few of the conversations that we've had in the Watch Me Code Slack and email those out to people, and just give them general reminders and whatnot about the webinar and hopefully, if I get half of the people that are registered to attend, that would be phenomenal.
25% is what you should, I think, count on a free webinar that's.
And that's what I've heard.
Yeah.
That's what I've heard. 25% is about average. I would like to get more than that, but who knows?
You might get slightly more because you're not pitching anything on the end of this, and people know that. So. I
am. This is going to be it's not going to be just a sales pitch, but there is going to be a lot of reference to the Watch Me Code Slack and various Watch Me Code episodes that kind of support the things we're talking about, with a somewhat of a hard pitch at the end to join the Watch Me Code community and get your membership.
Okay, yeah. Never mind. I was thinking that you were just creating these ones to sell for the product, but
later on, the later ones might be, but this first one is going to have some pitch to it.
Okay. So if you're thinking of packaging this, you might want to rethink that.
Okay.
Because you just have to balance, like, is it going to be more valuable to have this package?
Right.
Like, that would be pretty irritating to have that, unless you find a good edit point or something. That's an option.
Plan the edit point.
That's fair.
Yep.
Yeah, plan the pitch point, like 10 minutes before it ends or whatever, and then
you can always. I mean, if you want to do a pitch, you can always plan the edit point and then plan to do the main pitching in the emails. Like, if send out a replay email.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, don't kill it. I think sprinkling the references to all the goodies inside Watch Me Code throughout is perfectly in bounds, and you should probably do that through all of them.
Right.
But then, like, if you're gonna sell it as a product, try to make it so you can cut that piece out.
That's a good idea. Okay.
You guys could always sit there and record an alternate ending too. Like, no, I'm actually serious. Like, like, you could just have an extra, stay on the line for an extra 5 minutes and just chat and wind it down again. So.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
And then you could have, like, the obnoxious marketer cut and the nice guy, poor guy cut. No sales.
Yeah. There you go. See which one works better. You can A/B test the close, like the hard close.
The hard close and the soft close.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because there's nothing wrong with, I'm Derek Bailey and I run Watch Me Code and blah blah blah. It's just kind of a mention as opposed to
Right.
the harder sell, and then letting your co-host do the same thing, and that way, yeah, you have the two different versions, and people don't feel like, oh, I watched this video and then I got hit with a sale at the end.
Yeah.
I'm excited about this though, Derek. I think this is going to be. I think this is like your equivalent of my email newsletter advertising. Like, it's kind of like it's in your wheelhouse, and I think you could really really grow your audience quickly this way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm excited to see how it turns out.
And if this works, you'll just repeat this process.
Yeah, exactly. The real big question in my mind is, will I be able to turn any of this audience into Watch Me Code members? Which, by the way, total tangent, I am forcing myself to stop saying subscriber and only saying member at this point.
There you go.
I saw, I think it was Chris Lima or somebody else tweeted, subscriber equals a financial transaction, membership equals a community and belonging, which is really what I want to emphasize. So everything that I say, it's habit, and I'm having to force myself to say it, but I'm trying to say member instead of subscriber from now on.
Yep.
And I'm trying to decide between disciple or acolyte.
I would totally go with acolyte.
Yeah, I think acolyte, right?
Yeah. I have another webinar question. You said that I should keep my series to 8 or maybe 10. But then you also mentioned like the coaching style where, people come in and ask their questions and I help them figure stuff out. Should I do those in addition to those 10 and just do them another day of the week? Just do 3, 4, 5 of those? How many of those should I do?
I mean, how few webinars could you get this down to? I'm serious. Like, if you could get this down to like 3 or 4 and then 1 or 2 coaching calls, that would be great.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I really don't think that if you're going to string it out, if you're going to, like, trying to think of a good example, like I'm going through a webinar right now, like a course right now about Google Display Network, which is a pretty big topic, and it's basically 4 1-hour webinars, or slightly over 1 hour, and that's actually kind of a lot. And there's a lot, there's a lot of work I have to do between them. So, could you squeeze it down to 4? I think if you...
Can I squeeze it down to 4? Can I make them a little longer than an hour?
Yeah, I mean, 90 minutes would be fine.
You can add some Q&A at the back
very
end.
possibly, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think... there's not really a magic number here, but 3 to 5 is a pretty good length.
And
you
I
can
am
cover a
liking-
lot of ground.
That's true. If
And
I
that
did an
hot
hour and a
seat-
half, I could really, I think, get it down. I'd have to be really terse, but that's
John,
okay.
we're not going to let you talk anymore.
Okay.
Just... No, go ahead.
The Q&A, like at the end, could make sense too. If you're gonna do like an hour and a half, you don't want to be talking for an hour and a half. You want to do like 30 minutes of Q&A probably.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then the hot seat thing, I'm thinking now that this, like at first I was like, no, just do the end of the webinar or be interactive with the webinar, which you should still do. But doing the specific hot seat, like 1 or 2 sessions, is going to be a huge sell for this thing, because when you advertise it, you're going to be like, and I'm only selling 10 slots or whatever it is, and you have a very high probability of being one of the hot seat people where I will basically be working with you personally, and we'll be, everyone on the call will be focused on helping you specifically with your problem, or with you getting a job, or whatever this. So that, I think that's a huge sell, because that's like a lottery ticket with a very high chance of winning.
The other thing you can do with the hot seats too is give them assignments, and then have whatever they produce becomes kind of part of the product, right? So this is what I'm doing with Derek. Like, he's got his before emails, and we're gonna have this after emails, and those are both gonna be part of the course. You're gonna be able to see the transformation. And we're going to include like his avatar that he creates, and some of the research materials and all that stuff. So it's like user-generated content, and it's super valuable to people. With the 10 Steps course, I had John go back, and he has this workbook that he created for it, and I said, go through this and fill this out now for this. He did the pixel art. It was like the live, watch me learn part of it, and I said, go back and fill out the workbook so that they can see examples, and people seem like that's really been helpful.
Right.
Because people get really stuck on, like, when you just give them something abstract and then tell them to go apply it, they get really stuck. But if you give them that and then an example to work from, it's like 10 times easier.
Yeah, I'm getting a little bit hung up on just 10 people, though.
On just selling it to 10?
Yeah.
You could make it bigger. I mean, why are you hung up on that? It just doesn't
I don't know.
seem like
It just seems like not quite enough people. I mean, I'm thinking like 25.
Yeah, I mean, whatever you think you can reasonably sell, and not feel like you have to beat your list to death to do it.
Yeah,
you want it to be like, oh goody, I got in, right? Not, oh gosh, Chuck, you've been flogging this thing for 10 days.
Right. So if I do sell 10, and I guess I get a bunch more people saying I was too late, then I can say, okay, I'm gonna open up a few more spots.
You could do that. I probably wouldn't.
In the beginning, though, if you do that, you don't want to do like, okay, I'm going to open up a few more slots because there was high demand, because everyone's like, yeah, buddy, I heard that before.
Yeah.
Instead, from the beginning, be like, look, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to release seats in 2 rounds. The first round is X price and whatever, or X premium, and then I'm going to release a certain number. I'm not going to tell you how many of the next round, and that's But you want to get in at the first round because that's going to sell out quick.
Another thing you could do would be to do an application process instead of having people, and then, because the advantage of doing that is you could cherry pick if there's some people that you think would be a really good fit, and it could just be a matter of answering 3 questions or whatever, and then you spend a couple hours going through them and just picking the winners.
So let's do a combination of both of those things.
Okay.
Your first round tickets are the applications. These are the people that want the potential to be interviewed by you directly on the show.
Yep.
And then the second round is open to the general audience, people that just want to show up and watch.
The reason I mentioned the application thing is because you don't know how this is going to go, right?
Right.
So if you can sit there for a week and say, hey, I'm taking applications for this, and if you don't get any applications, nobody knows that, right? But if you say I've got 25 seats and I'm going to cap it at that, and you're still sending emails 10 days from now, well, now you're starting to look pretty desperate.
Yeah.
Yep.
So just something to consider. I'm not. That's what I did with. That's what I was planning to do with my coaching, which I ended up not needing to do because I got people just emailing me privately about it. But
yeah, I could have people apply for the first 10 seats, and then let people know I'm going to open up another 15 seats in a week. You know, for anybody who just it's first come first serve. But the first 10 people that I'm going to pick that look like they really need this, and
Yep. And you might even, if you're going to do that, you might even make it smaller. I don't know. You can play with the numbers, but whatever you think is manageable. So.
Yep. Makes sense.
So, you know what I didn't talk about? I was gone last week because I was speaking in DC, which went pretty good. So that was pretty fun. I did another no slides talk. So from now on, I'm not talking with slides. That's just my default, which went well. And what else was?
Well, there are trade-offs, I think. Because some people use slides to put bullet points up, and everybody just reads the slides and kind of ignores the speaker.
Right.
And then you have other folks that seem to be able to use the slides with images or videos or things to great effect. So,
It depends on the content as well.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, not all content can be delivered purely through spoken word, but I think a lot of what you're doing these days, John, can be done that way, and probably should be done that way, because it doesn't need the illustrations that and the bullet points that most people put up there. For what I did before I quit doing speaking, most of it was technology related and code related. So I showed screenshots of code a lot and illustrated my points with visuals a lot to get the ideas across to people, and I think that was an effective use of slides in my case. But I can certainly see a lot of what I'm putting up on YouTube certainly doesn't need slides or visuals to go along with it. It's just me talking.
Well, and
Yeah.
I think that's the benefit, is that you get the, hey, listen, we're just going to chat for a half hour.
Exactly.
It's you and me, and we're going to talk about this thing that's important to you.
Right.
Yep. Yeah, and I totally agree. Yeah, I'm not knocking people using slides. Obviously, slides make sense for a lot of people.
As long as you do them right. That's the thing.
Right, as long as you do them right.
Stop putting bullet points in your slides.
I have a 400-word per slide
Yes.
hard cap. I won't go above that.
No, minimum.
Yeah.
Minimum. 100-word minimum.
But for me, for my speaking, for my style, I'm way more effective
Totally.
seminar style, not slides. So that's what I'm gonna do. Like I felt like the Xamarin one was really strong, and then I felt like this one was strong. And this one, the Xamarin one, obviously was a good candidate for no slides. So this one was on personal branding and building your brand. And traditionally, I had slides for a similar talk as this, but doing it without the slides just had a way bigger impact on the audience. So that was good. And then they did a book signing there, so I signed like 100 and something books, which was cool. They bought books for the thing. But here's the cool thing: out of this, I got another speaking gig that someone in the audience. So I'm going to be going to like July 11th. I'll be speaking at this company's DevCon conference, and they'll be buying like somewhere around 100 to 300 books, and then paying a speaking fee. But I wanted to get your guys' take on this, which because I think I undersold myself, unfortunately. So I said that my daily rate was $5,000, which is typically what it is. So what will you charge to speak? And I said $5,000, and then travel and expenses.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we had the meeting, they were like, oh yeah, there was like the person organizing it, and then the budget person or whatever, the event coordinator, and when they confirmed my fees, they said, that's well within our budget, isn't it? Oh yeah, that's definitely. And I was like, oh, okay. So I thought I was charging a lot of money when I was charging $5,000 to come and talk for 60 minutes, but apparently that was not a lot of money.
No, for the kind of speaking that you're doing, I've worked at companies that would pay, $30,000 or $40,000 to have somebody come in and do talks like that.
Okay, so I probably would, maybe my next one I'll aim at $10K.
Yeah. I mean, when I was doing full-time consulting, on-site work was $5,000 a day plus travel and expenses.
Right.
That was my rate. So for what you're doing, $5,000 is going to be dirt cheap.
I think it really depends too, though, on who's paying for it and what the venue is and things like that.
Yeah.
So if it's a smaller conference that is just kind of getting off the ground, then $5,000 might be out of reach for them. But if it's a large company that's going to have you come and speak to several hundred developers, or even just their core team, and you're going to share something that's going to double their productivity, they'll pay you $30,000, $40,000, like Derek said, and it's not gonna. They're not even going to blink.
Yeah, because they're going to spend $40,000 in people time filling up that room. Mm-hmm. So putting another $40,000 down for you isn't going to be a big deal.
Right. Okay. Yeah, and I think, it just, you got to set the bar to what's it worth to you. Yeah, really. It's like Chuck said, yeah, a lot of conferences that might be out of reach, and so what? right? I mean, you don't want to go,
Yeah.
you don't want to be a
Exactly.
professional speaker. You'd like to do
Yeah.
this 2 or 3 times a quarter, have a really high impact, and then make a nice chunk of money that actually moves the needle for you a little bit.
Right. It was like
So
last
the
year.
money's a filter.
Yeah, exactly. Earlier this year, when I had an offer from a friend of mine to do some contract work on Node.js stuff, I was like, "Yeah, that'd be great. I'd love to do it. 3,500 a week for up to 15 hours a week." It was basically a filter. Are you really serious about having me come on board? This is my rate. It's astronomical compared to what you typically pay developers. But if you're
Right.
really serious about me doing it, you're going to make it worth my time, and I'm going to be worth the money.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense. And in this case, I was also like, well, a quick plane trip to Vegas, like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
you know
So-
how I like Vegas.
So,
oh man, John, you gotta
$5,000 a day plus expenses. That includes all of the
Slot machines.
slot machines. Yeah, I was gonna say that. That $5,000, you gotta
It's
price
not
in.
enough.
You
Yeah.
gotta price in whatever's gonna disappear into the one-armed
I
bandit.
got it out of my system.
No, you said that after the first night.
Oh man.
I got a
You can't
huge
always
kick
be
out
good.
of
You
that.
gotta be bad sometimes. You gotta be an asshole sometimes. You gotta be bad. You can't be good all the time.
John's got this ADD post that's gonna come out next week. The Cyclops without the visor post, and I was reading it, and he mentioned the slot machines, and I got a huge kick out of that. He's like,
Buffalo.
if you've ever sat with me and watched those 20s disappear, and I was like, yes, I have done that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah. So okay. Well, thanks. That helps. Because I again, it's like I'm not trying to be a professional speaker because that's
Right,
not
right.
It's but,
basically whatever you can ask for with a straight face until there's nobody left in the country willing to pay it, right? I
Yeah.
mean,
yeah,
and
It's the
so-
same advice that I give to people as consultants.
consultants exactly.
Double your rate until they start saying no
Yep.
consistently.
Exactly.
Yep.
It's just weird going from the place like in the developer community. So many
Yeah.
people speak for free.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
And they submit abstracts, and it's like this whole thing. And so I was like, well, I'm not doing that. If you come and invite me, then I'll
Right.
go and
That's
talk. And now I'm like,
Fiverr. That's
no, now I'm gonna
Fiverr. That's
Yep.
the Fiverr version of speaking.
Yeah.
And now you're on the other side of it. So
yeah. But I've got some to deliver now, and now I've got recorded video. So now, like that Evolve recording is great because I can be like, this is
Yeah.
what I can deliver for you, and
Right.
so that's going to sell the 10K ticket or
Yeah.
10K plus ticket. I think
Totally.
better than.
yeah.
anything
Well, I mean,
else.
you don't have to if they come to you, you don't have to really even sell them.
No, that's true. Yeah.
So I mean, they're
But that video will be an attraction for more people to come to
Yes.
you.
yes.
That's true. Yeah. Okay. So I definitely have to figure this out. So yeah, I think 10K needs to be the minimum, and then
Yeah.
hopefully, and then I
Yeah.
can.
And then
if
the
I
next
get
time it'll be
likes
15K.
Yeah, exactly. Until people say no. Yeah, just same advice that I give.
Exactly.
It's good that you guys are giving that to me. So yeah.
Yep.
It's just those are big numbers, and it's hard to.
Yeah. Big is such a relative term, though. I have a friend here in town that does WordPress development. She's really good at what she does, and she has a whole team of people that work for her now. She pays her team $50 per page of content, which is what usually literally copy and paste.
Right.
So one of her team members can make, $500, $1,000 in a given day, just from copying and pasting content from an old site into WordPress and then formatting it correctly and all that. And she's had several of her team members, come to her and say, I feel bad, charging you $50 a page because this is only taking me a couple of minutes. And my friend looks at them every time and says, honey, you have no clue how much I'm making per hour. You are dirt cheap. Just keep doing what you're doing for $50.
Nice.
And she's in the same situation where 5 years ago when I first met her, she told me what her hourly rate was, and I told her straight up, double your rate, and then
Yeah.
your next client, double it again, and double it again, and she kept doing it until she got to the point where it didn't matter that she was paying $50 a page. She loves being able to pay $50 a page
Yeah.
for her team because she gets the
Best.
highest quality people,
Yeah.
and she's doing phenomenally well.
Nice. Oh, one last update I got for you guys on the diet program that I'm putting together, the diet. So this is, because I'm
I wrote
dog
an
Sounds like a
fooding
get
it.
rich quick. I'm
I
sorry.
wrote
Yes,
I wrote
yes.
an email about this week too.
I'm dog fooding this thing, and
Yeah.
it's grueling.
The
A
entree
dog food
programmers
diet?
are
Yeah.
nothing but fodder for Josh. That's all we
Two
are.
hours a day, 7 days a week, because I'm running 7 miles 4 times a week, and then I'm lifting for about an hour and a half to 2 hours 3 times a week. So no rest days, uh, the one meal a day, but then no carbs on one day. And then like the supplement list, Josh has seen it. It's crazy because everything is balanced around. Because what happens when you get to low body fat is your testosterone starts to drop down. So I've got like all these supplements that are basically like compensating for, like it's all like engineered, but and including estrogen blockers because like DAA tends to cause an increase in aromatase, which converts testosterone to estrogen. There's complex. I don't want to go into all the details, but anyway, so far I'm getting like super effective results, better than anything I've had so far. I'm putting on, like I'm got it on the scale now. I put on about 5 pounds, and my body fat dropped down. So, and this is only like in a week and a half. So this is I think I've tapped into the equation here. It's not easy. It's definitely hard as hell. But like if the whole sale of this whole thing, like the whole premise of this whole diet and fitness program is essentially this. Let's say that you want to just like aesthetically build as much, improve as much as possible physically, like from muscle to fat loss in a short amount of time, and you're willing to do whatever it takes. That's what this program is. It's like hard as
Willing to
shit.
do whatever it takes is steroids.
Well, no, but like naturally, like you want to keep the physique. Like if you
Oh
do
my
steroid,
gosh.
like steroids is an option, but then you're gonna have the consequences of that, which is
Yes.
you're gonna like okay. I
There's
don't,
our soundbite.
yeah.
Steroids is an option.
Well, you've got Lou Ferrigno and you've got Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? Have you guys seen Arnold Schwarzenegger lately?
Yeah.
Like remember when they competed back? Have you seen Lou Ferrigno lately? Lou
He's,
Ferrigno, dude looks good.
yeah, he
Like
does.
he's like what, like 60 or something like that. And Arnold does not look good, right?
No.
Because I mean, but that's but the thing is like if you go that road, there's plenty of people that go the steroid road. I'm never going to go that road because I don't want to just lose it all as soon as I'm done. Like I mean, there's other reasons why not to go that road, but that's like for a logical primary reason. But anyway, it's working like ridiculous, phenomenal so far. So we'll see. I think this is going to be good.
Yeah, John has been telling me all about this, and I'm like, yeah, I wonder who's gonna get to write the sales copy for this. He's like, this is the hardest thing you'll ever do.
Yeah, but
The,
that's gonna.
There's
Yeah.
this old classic ad for the guy who, this guy was running. He was doing an expedition to the Antarctic, and he ran a newspaper ad to recruit people for. This was like around, let's see, like around, I think it was around like 1900 or something. The ad was men wanted for hazardous journey, low wages, bitter cold, long hours of complete darkness, safe return doubtful, honor
Yep.
and recognition in an event of success. That's basically the pitch that I'm going to have to make
Yep.
for this
Exactly.
program.
Exactly.
Then you can make a video of your muscles
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
YouTube.
Check out this selling point, Josh. This one, I need to get more evidence. This is all just my own, right? Because I have a
Right.
really good playing field here because I run down Pacific Beach, right?
Right.
And there's a lot of people, okay? So
I think I see where this is
I
going.
have this theory. I'm not 100%, but I think that this is legit, okay? Because I know. I mean, I'm running 4 times a week down this strip, and it's a brand new group of people every day. It's pretty much like tourists. So there's this body fat percentage that, and the other end evidence and anecdotal evidence here is my YouTube videos because I've got my weight and body fat percentage tracking for the last 5 years, right? Because I've used this
Right.
Y thing scale, so I know where I was at. So there's certain videos on YouTube where don't want to. No matter how I put this, it's not going to sound right. But where females comment on the video and they're like, oh, this guy's hot or whatever, or like, right? And there's certain ones where that doesn't. But I've looked at those numbers, and then I've looked at. So what I'm saying is this: I think there's this body fat percentage level that isn't. It's not a huge gap. It's not like it's like the difference between like 0.5%. But when you get to this certain level, where all of a sudden you're how can I say this? Your powers of garnering female attention increase by like 5x, right?
It's the pheromones.
I don't know what like but there's this, and again, I know this sounds a little bit crazy, but like I will tell you, like from running down the street, like I like the last
I
time
like
that
how John suddenly started whispering.
I know.
I will tell you. No, really, you gotta listen.
But honestly, like I
Why
was
these
like,
drugs are the best.
His mom needs to quit commenting on his YouTube channel.
Exactly, right? But I was like, did I get a new hair? Like, is it like what is going on? Like, I literally looked down and I was like, is my wiener hanging out of my shorts? Because right, I was like, what is going on? Like, this is like crazy. Like, you know, I ran by and there was like this bachelorette party, and they're like, oh, can you come over here and take a picture with? And I was like, what is going on? So, but it only happens at a certain level. Like, there's this threshold where it becomes like crazy, like 5x. So that's the best selling point. Like, because and it's the part where it's the hardest to get to, right? Because you get down, I can get down to 10% body fat, or 11%, no problem. It's easy. But when you're dropping a little bit below that, like there's like this chain reaction of stuff that makes it hard. Like you get ravenous hunger, you get depression, you get low testosterone, right? All of these things that make it so that it's very likely that you're not going to be able to get past that sticking point. But when you're like just below that dip, I don't know. I mean, this is just my own personal experience evidence, but I think there's something here. And if that is true, like if I can provide enough, even if it's anecdotal evidence, that is like such a selling point that I think this is where we could sell this to the mainstream and make a shit ton of money.
You're just turning into yet another meathead on YouTube trying to make money off of having low body fat.
Yeah, but
I mean, it's like yawn. Okay, I've seen this 1,000 times, and everybody claims they have.
You don't
secret.
understand, Derek.
Yeah,
You just don't get it. I'm gonna turn my back on you.
That video was so awesome.
It was so good.
That was absolutely the best video you've ever done, John. That jazz at the end as well.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Rodrigo gets the credit for that.
Yeah.
So perfect.
But no, I get what you're saying. But here's the difference. Like, and I was telling Josh this. It's like all of the stuff that I've put into this thing. Like, I'm gonna write the book, and it's like
But so
this
does
is
everybody
why
else.
Yeah, but this is like okay, this is hard as shit, right? I'm being totally honest with you. This is hard as shit. You're probably not gonna do it, but if you do, here's the benefits. Like, and here's the thing that like that 5x attraction factor. I don't think anyone's talking about that. But then the real selling compelling point is this. Like, this is why we're doing every single thing that I'm suggesting in this. There's a reason why we're doing it. It's like, and it all works together. It's like, this is why we're fasting to increase HGH levels. This is why we're cycling carbs. We're going to go into ketosis, and then we're going to cycle out of ketosis. And this is why we're doing these specific lifts to broaden shoulders. We're trying for superhero physique. We're going to broaden shoulders. We're going to broaden lats. We're taking this supplement for this reason at this exact time. We're cycling these things. We're eating high fat for this reason. We're cycling through different protein sources for these reasons. Like, I'm gonna like spell it all out. Like, this is like every basic research article that's come out in the last like 15 years. I'm combining it all into one thing to optimally give you like what is the biggest bang for your buck that you could possibly have. We don't care how hard it is. So I think that's, you know what I mean? Like, I haven't seen anything. I've seen stuff that's like, oh, promise you this result, but but to be able to say, especially to our audience, to be able to say, this is why this works. Like these are the reasons why, and this is like you see like 50 pieces of science that are stacked into this that are proving that this is the most effective thing that you could possibly do. That's why I think it's different. But
I want to do an easier product first.
I'm just waiting for Josh's lights to turn on.
They will be turning on shortly.
okay, that's my pitch to the.
You should do a webinar with a tank top.
Shirtless.
Well, see, I'm excited about it because I mean, you guys know I've been searching for the Holy Grail, and I think I found it. So.
Cool.
Have fun.
All right. Should we do our thoughts?
I suppose so.
Anyone else want to
so.
pitch something? I feel like you guys should be.
I want to pitch Josh over the side of the boat. That's what I want to pitch.
Oh my
Instead of burning the boat, you're going to set Josh on fire. And
That's right. I'm going to send Josh out in a funeral boat where I shoot a flaming arrow into it, except he's still going to be alive.
Oh my goodness!
Well,
I guess
if you pitch Josh over the boat, then you'll be by the side of the boat when I pitch you over the boat, Derek.
Yes, for convincing you to do WordPress.
I spent like 3 hours trying to get the search to work. And then I finally went to this guy that I had do a little bit of WordPress work for me before. And he's like, yeah, I can do that. So I paid him $50. He was done in like 20 minutes.
Yep.
Nice.
There's some really good search engines. I think searchwp.com is one that I've seen a lot recently, and it's pretty good.
Well, he just fixed the layout for me, and then
Okay.
and then I'm like, yeah, now I need to exclude some stuff from the search. And so, yeah, he spent another 10 minutes at that done.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I
well,
probably could
okay.
have helped you with that as well. I've got a few customizations to the search and Watch Me Code. So
Yeah,
if you-
I've got it where I want it now. So.
Yeah, and you can just go look at what he did now. But yeah,
Yeah.
search in WordPress is it can be awful.
Yeah.
So yeah, for thoughts for the week, I'm going to go back to an old blog post of mine that I told Josh the story in our other call. Don't look at the elephant, just keep chewing. That's my thought for the week, and that's how you eat an elephant. Because I am currently eating an elephant of marketing, and it's.
I think
Just
I'm going
keep
to bounce.
chewing.
I'll bounce off of that and say, taste the elephant before you decide to eat the whole thing.
Yes, that's a good one.
next time we do any kind, even consider any kind of affiliate thing, we're going to do some kind of small test, and I'm not
Yeah.
committing 2 weeks of my life to. And there's my light.
There's your light.
Yeah.
See, it's my brilliance makes the lights come on. You know.
That's right.
Almost a zero. Last week you were the devil.
Yeah.
So my thought is this week, especially like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I was so down and depressed, and I was completely exhausted. Partially from physical exertion and partially just because life. And I mean, just figuring stuff out, just having a plan, just kind of knowing where I'm going to go with stuff, and then taking a little bit of personal time to get some rest to take care of myself.
Mm.
Game changer this week. So today I'm feeling pretty good. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to record a couple of videos for Rails clips because I'm still not done with that. And then I'm going to sit down and I am going to write book.
Awesome.
Nice.
See, mine is. I'm trying to think how I can plug my fitness program, but.
Mine is that you do not want to be Arnold.
Get to the chopper.
I would say it kind of going along what we talked about a lot today is this idea that it is a I call it the walking on the razor's edge, which is like this idea that there's a very small distinction that is going to determine which direction you go in life in many areas. So I mean, going to the diet thing, if you eat a surplus of 100 calories a day, which isn't much, right? That's like a small amount, like it's one apple, or a deficit of 100 calories a day. In 10 years, you're either going to be like, you'll either die of a heart attack because you'll be so fat, right? Because you'll have gained like, like over 100 pounds or whatever. I guess maybe that's not, maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit, but you'll gain like 100 pounds in 10 years.
Not exaggerating that much. I mean,
or you'll die.
Yeah.
Right. That's 100-calorie difference, right? So what I'm saying is, like, there's so many areas. Like, if you write 50 more words a day, or 100 more words a day, or 100 less words a day, over 10 years, that's going to be a huge amount. That's an entire couple of books, right? Like, I'm not doing the math, but I'm assuming that's a couple of entire books, right? But it's like all of those
not a
things.
couple of your books.
My
like
books.
a quarter of one of John's books. Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, like, the small things, like those small differences in, like, you're either net gain or net loss, and when you're net gain, that cumulative effect is super beneficial. And it's such a small difference. It's a small decision, a small thing that you choose to do or not to do, and that cumulative negative is a small thing, but it's a huge detriment. I mean, it's a difference between, like, over time, that small decision, right, is the difference between becoming a billionaire and a homeless person. Like, that's how much that small amount. So the whole point of this is basically just to evaluate every day: are you going up or down? Because if you're going down, it's not like you're going down a little. You're going down a lot, because how you live one day is how you live every day, and that is going to follow that cumulative effect, especially with compound interest, because that's also going to hit you. Is going to bring you down hard, and you won't even it's not even like you screwed up like so bad. It's that you just made one slightly poor decision that compounded over time. But the same thing happens on the positive side. If you're net positive, right, in whatever you're trying to do, where you're making forward progress, even if it's just the tiny bit of smallest forward progress, that compound interest and that net effect is going to be foundational. So the difference, between a billionaire and a homeless person wandering the streets like totally broke, could just it might not be something big. It might just be just tiny bit of a small decision that they constantly make, or a small habit that they have that made that whole difference in the path in life.
Small habits like wasting $2,500 in slot machines.
Yes. If you do that every day.
Exactly.
I knew you were going to qualify it that way.
No, that's I totally agree there. I mean, years ago, it was like 2010 era. I lost about 60 pounds in about a year, about 6 months to a year. I can't remember exactly how long. And it really was just making that small change. Just I dropped my calorie intake, not significantly, but just enough that over that period of time, it just eroded over time. And I know I need to do that again. My wife's been bugging me about it, and I've been bugging myself about it. And those small differences, I totally agree with what you're saying there.
Well, I've got a program for you.
You've got a program to end up with a divorce and my kids not wanting to see me again and having holes in my wall from punching things. All right, guys.
All
See
right.
you next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take care.